to be doing a Q&A session, a work with me session. I do have my laptop right across from me, and I wanted to address and answer some questions that you all sent on my videos. I haven't had time to create videos for every single questions that are asked. Again, happy Sunday. Hopefully your Sunday is going well. And I had service this morning, but wanted to jump on this quick live to try to answer a few questions. I'm going to see how much I can answer, guys. I don't think I'll be able to do all the QAs with all the questions that were sent, but I will be going down the list and trying to go from start to finish. Let me put this on do not disturb because I do not want my phones to be ringing. All right, y'all. So set my phone to do not disturb. I don't want it to be ringing. I'm going to work on these questions, and I'll try to start from the oldest questions to the newest question. And some of them I will read through verbatim if I can, if it's correct, because I know sometimes people are asking different questions, and I'm trying to make out what the question was. So the first one I'm going to go through is one that was sent on my YouTube Q&A must watch video. And this question says, I am going for my associates in HIM at a local community college. At the end of this, I will be a RHITA. I'm not sure what the A stands for. I think I addressed this question at one point, but I'm just going to go for it. Also, one of your videos, you said that you can get a certificate. What kind of certificate can I get after my associate's degree? And then also, actually, let me pause and answer that first. So this person is going to a community college, and they are in the RIT program, RHIT program, and they're asking the question as to what certification can they get. For the RHIT, you can get your RHIT credential, and that's the Registered Health Information Technician credential. You get it in a 2-year college, and that is what you obtain under the AHIMA umbrella. And you can also get your coding credentials. So depending on your program, you should qualify because it's a 2-year program. It's a AHIMA umbrella program. So you can work under the AHIMA association. You want to make sure that whatever school you're going to is accredited. So under that AHIMA umbrella, you want to make sure that it's one of the schools that qualify for you to sit for your RHIT. And because you asked this question and you did indicate that you are in a community college, and at the end of that program of study, you're going to obtain your RHIT, I am also seeing that or assuming that you are going to be able to sit for this exam. So you can get your RHIT, and you can also get coding credentials. That's the CCS, CCSP, CCA. Those are things that you can get if you are in your 2-year program. Now, the next thing is also you ask the question of if you are in your bachelor's degree program, what credentials can you obtain? For your bachelor's degree, you can obtain your RHIA. That's the administrative level, and that's more leadership level certification. You are going to have to be in a bachelor's level program to do it. Or for those people who are not in the bachelor's level, you can also get your RHIA in a master's accredited program. So keep that in mind. The next question is, how do I get EPIC credential? What can I do with this? So EPIC credential is huge. It's a nice credential to have. It's also something that a lot of people sometimes find a hard time getting. I know that a lot of other YouTubers, health information management related channels have indicated it's not as hard to get it. but it is hard to get it. Let's be real. A lot of companies who are not utilizing Epic may not send you to get your credentials, your certificate, become a principal trainer. So you want to make sure that whatever organization you're working with has that application using some sort of Epic application software in their organization, because that's when they're able to invest in you getting that certificate. So that is important. There are some places that you can apply for, or some jobs, some roles you can apply for that will allow you to get certified, but they may have you on a contract. They may have you get certified and then work with them for a certain amount of time. Just like nurses, sometimes when you have those incentives, they will have something that you will have to do in order for you to get that credential. And then some employers or some organization are going to be implementing the utilization of this EHR or different types of application when it comes to Epic. And if they are, that's when you can also use that to navigate your way through to get your credentials. So keep that in mind. You can do a lot of different positions with a Epic credential. It depends. You can work in billing, you can work as an analyst, you can work in the data integrity area, you could work just about a lot of different places utilize those Epic tools. So just research on that. Comment down below if you want me to post some more things. Ooh, bless me. Comment down below if you want me to post some more careers and different types of roles that you can do with the Epic certification, Epic credentials. You can become a consultant, you can be a principal trainer, and so forth and so on. It's really broad, just like HIM is broad. Epic credential is also broad. I hope you guys can hear me. All right, so the next question that I'm going to answer says, how long do you recommend studying for the RHIA? How long do you recommend studying a day for the RHIA? I work full-time as an HIM specialist. I also have 2 children. So the only time I have to study is usually at night. I feel like I addressed this question, but I'm going to do it again for those of you who have not gotten to watch some of my videos. Studying for your RHIA exam, it is something that you need to set time aside. I think a lot of times we get really busy. We have work, we have school because we're students, we're parents, we're wives, we're husbands, we're professional workers. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. We're taking care of our parents and so forth and so on. Even single people with no kids, you still have that busy life. And I think setting time aside, prioritizing what is important to you is a must do. When I took my RHIA exam, I did have a group study team. Initially, I started studying on my own, but I did have a group of ladies that I would study with, and we would meet at least twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. But it wasn't everybody that could meet at the same time, and because of that, I would add additional time frame when I am studying. So if you're doing a group study, you might want to meet twice or 3 times a week. You also may want to do your own singled out study. So you're studying on your own. If you're able to, you should be able to. Some people like studying by themselves. They don't want additional people studying with them. And some people like the group study. I think it's great. I think it's motivational. I think it keeps you accountable. So when I studied on my own, I would study at least 3 times a day. Whether I'm studying in a group, I still did my personal study, because sometimes I feel like having that quiet time to study and learn what I need to learn helped me with information retention. It helped me focus more. So I would study at least 3 times a day. So if you're studying, I would say at least 3 times a week, correction, but at least 2 hours. If you can give yourself 2 hours per day, that would be great. If you are a busy person, then you may want to at least put in an hour a day for 2 to 3 times a week. And your hour has to be a concrete hour. And when I'm saying concrete hour, it means that you have mapped out what you're studying, you've built your study plan, you know what exactly you're going to be focusing on, look at your chapters in advance, set your key terms, in like create some sort of cheat sheet, master list, Excel document, Word document, Google Doc. Make sure that you plan yourself out so that when you're studying, you know what your focus points are going to be. A prime example would be if you're studying for domain one. You want to make sure that you've gone through and high level, skim through what domain one is going to be about. You want to make sure what are the topics in there. You want to make sure what books are you going to utilize, what resources are you going to utilize. You also want to make sure what links are you going to utilize. Guys, my family is still out, so hopefully you may hear one or two sounds if they're up and about to move around. This is live, so it is what it is. But you want to make sure that you have mapped out everything you need to study up with. Because if you don't, then your hour, which you're limited to that 1 hour, is not going to be productive. So you want to have a productive method of studying so that you can make sure that within that 1 hour time span, you got a lot done. But I would recommend 2 hours because sometimes, even when you start studying, that 10 or 15 minute when you start studying, you still have to get yourself in study mode. So you're taking away about 10-15 minutes. That keeps you at what, 45, sometimes 30 minutes if you're taking a break. So your 1 hour has to be focused studying. If not, try to push for 2 hours at 3 times a week. And then when you have spare time on the weekend or in the evenings, you can put in another hour if possible. That's what I would recommend. But make sure you have all your resources. Make sure you're using the correct AHEMA recommended book. That is the first thing you want to do. You do not want to just be studying off of Quizlet or studying off of something someone told you. You want to get the study guide book. Use your study guide book and make sure that you have your resources, what you're going to reference, because I go back and I was referencing any content I needed to in my textbook, in any of my other booklets that were given to me. You can go to AHEMA Body of Knowledge and type in what you need to, and you're going to get a lot of resources that will help you better understand that content or that topic or that key term. So keep that in mind. Then the other person said they also study at night. So I recommend studying when it's best for you. It doesn't have to be a nighttime study. I like to study in the evening sometimes because everyone is sleeping. It's quiet and it's not too much traffic moving around. Mom, this, and can I do this? And the kids are talking, conversation, the TV. So I like to do either very, very early in the morning when I know they're all still sleeping, like now trying to shoot this video, hoping that they're not going to be up and about. But like I said, it is what it is. I wanted to make sure I answer these questions. But you also want to make sure you're studying in the evening as well when it's quiet and you have that me time. So figure out the best time. I do also study sometimes on my back porch. It's quiet. The kids are not out there playing. They're usually in their rooms doing their own things. Find a location around your home or go to the library. It's quiet there. Find a room that you can, private room you can go to and study. A lot of the colleges have libraries that you can actually go to and study because it's not everyone that is in school on site. Some people are living off campus, some people are living on campus, some people are living from home and commuting to school. So you want to make sure that you're finding a nice quiet location to go study. So FYI on that, I used to do that a lot. Even when I was in college, I wasn't necessarily on campus. I would go from home and I would go to the library to study, and I would find a personal room or a corner that I knew was very quiet, and I would stay there to study. So find yourself a nice location, a nice area. There's some different buildings and spaces. If you're someone that needs the you know, you need to see people, you need to be outside in nature. You can also go to the parks and study their benches and different things that you can utilize and sit there, get your me time and get your study on. Just stay focused, stay dedicated, keep yourself on track. That's another thing. It's not always that we have people to keep us accountable. So because we don't have people to keep us accountable, you have to keep yourself accountable, or find a friend, a family member, another student, fellow student, someone that can keep you accountable. Let them know these are the time frame I'm going to study, and can you please help me stay accountable. I have my sister who I talk to a lot, one of my sisters, and sometimes I will do a session with her. She's working on something, I'm working on something, and that way I keep myself accountable for that 1 hour, 2 hour, and I can check it off my bucket list that I got my studies, or I got my to do for my credential or my certification done. And the more you build a habit of doing that, that's going to help you stay focused and stay ready, so that when you're ready to go pay for your exam and do your exam, you don't have to worry about backtracking. Did I cover everything? You've been doing it, you've been stationary, you've been steady getting your study on. So I would recommend at least 2 to 3 times a week, at least 2 to 3 hours a week when you're studying for your RHIA, RHIT, coding, whatever it is. Try to keep consistent with your study. All right, y'all. So the next question, I'm going to kind of shift my screen over just in case anyone is joining in. I can answer their questions. So let me make sure I have this open up. And again, thank you for those of you who are joining. Please give me a thumbs up. Let me know you're here. Say hello. I see someone joined. Good morning. And good morning, good morning, good morning. So, and I know this is a niche channel too, so that's another thing with my channel. So I want to make sure that I focus and get some of these questions out, because I always do not have time to address the questions and create the video. So I just wanted to dedicate this 30 minutes to an hour to answer some of your questions. So let me shift this aside. Let me move this aside so I can see who is joining. Good morning, happy Sunday. If you're joining me, thank you for joining. Thank you for stopping by. Give me a thumbs up and comment down below. If you're unable to stay for this Q&A that I'm answering questions that were posted on my video, it's okay. Just stop by, say hello. You can always come back to my video as well and ask me questions that you want to know about HIM. And remember, HIM, it's not just health information management, it's also health information technology, health informatics. A lot of people in the HIM field think it's just strictly coding. It is not strictly coding. We do a lot of different things. You are technical and you are healthcare. You might not be direct patient care, but you are patient care. You're impacting some sort of patient care. So always keep that in mind, that when you see HIM, people have asked me about that, and I get a little bit confused as to how come you don't know about HIM. It's pretty big, it's pretty broad, it's a huge field, a great field to be in. So I always like to brag about it and talk about our field in health information management. You could be working in just about any type of facility. You can work for NIH, you can work for just about anywhere when it comes to HIM. Anywhere you have patient care, patient documentation, medical records, technical things that has to deal with our healthcare industry, it's broad, y'all. So don't think about HIM is strictly health information management. No, it's health IT, it's health informatics, and more. So the next question that I was asked is, let's see. I talked about recommended studying. The next one says, in studying for my RHIA exam, the current RHI exam prep book, AHIMA has changed the study format. And I think they meant maybe the booklet, because we do have new editions that are coming out, which they do all the time because people have to make money, and also people have to keep up with what's trending in our healthcare. You don't want to be studying things that are not trending, so they are going to update that. The change occurred this year, effective 2023. Prior to the new format, I would study an hour, and they have in here select 15 questions from the domain. The system would, let's read more, randomly generate those questions. So this person is studying from the assessment. When you have a book such as this one here, this is a CHAD book, a credential I want to eventually obtain. I've started studying for it just to keep myself accountable. So if you're studying for anything, whether it's your class, it's not just your credentials. If you're studying for your AMP class, an exam, all these things is applicable to how you should properly study for your exam. If you're in a Bible school, the same thing. You want to study, you want to read your Bible constantly, you want to stay focused on it, you want to understand the chapters, you want to meditate on those scriptures. So think of yourself and putting yourself in that study mode. This person is asking that they're utilizing a preparation book that they used to study. It looks like they're taking the assessment, and they're saying that things has changed, the format has changed, and the system will generate the question. The current domain prep has 100 questions for each domain, and all questions must now be answered. I think that's a good thing. So I'm not sure exactly. Let me give this a heart as I answer these questions, because this will help me know that I have answered those questions. And I will also start indicating, posted a video on this, so you can go back to some of my video to watch. But it is a good thing that the questions gets you to answer every single thing. You don't want to be taking a study prep assessment and you're left with not answering all your questions. So I think it's a great thing that they are now indicating that you have to answer all the questions and the format they're using. So I don't know. This is AANUB Anubian Queen 4637. I'm not sure if you are venting because of the new format with the current domain, where the questions, all the questions has to be answered, must be answered. I think that's a good thing. I think you want to study as much as you can in your study guide, because that's the only way you're going to feel more well prepared. I don't always just use everything in the study guide. I study everything in my study guide, and then I still go back in and look for additional questions. I create my own questions as well. So if I have key terms that I was confused about, if I did my check your understanding in the textbook and a lot of them are not um, conducive to what I want, after I answer those questions and I see they're great questions, I did well with them, I still generate my own questions. And if I'm studying with a study group or a team member, I will generate questions for them, because I feel as though there are things I know that they may not know, or they think they know, but the way I'm going to regenerate or recreate a question is going to test their understanding, to let me know that they truly understood it and not just verbatim what's in the study guide book. So just keep that in mind. I do think that's a great thing. Let me know. You commented on my study method for the CHAD exam. Let me know exactly what the issue is. Do you think that format of answering all the question, which is a must do, is not really conducive enough, and why not? I think it's a great thing that they're doing the new format. All right, y'all. So the next question somebody said is, under which category do you belong to? I'm sure it's not healthcare, but administrative or others. I guess this was asked actually in my job career videos that I posted, and the person wants to know under which category I belong to. And they're saying they guess it's not healthcare, and but instead it's administrative. And so I'm going to try to pick this through to say it is healthcare because I am health information management. That's my major. That was my degree. I did health IT. I have a degree in IT as well. So information systems. So I do have background in health IT. I do have my master's, bachelor's, associates, credentials, EPIC credentials, RHIA, and so forth and so on. I have coding background. I have medical records background, data integrity background, and in general, patient medical record background. So it is healthcare. You can't be in health information management, health information technology, health informatics, and consider yourself not a healthcare professional. Yes, you are. So in my field, I am healthcare. I do have healthcare background, and I am considered a healthcare professional. And when you talk about administrative, yes, the administrative portion is not just because I hold a master's degree or I hold my RHIA, but it's also that I have I have done roles that have kept me in leadership. So I have done lower level roles. FYI, I didn't just start in leadership. I did start as a coder to begin with, outpatient, and there I moved up the ladder. So for me, the administrative portion is the portion where you're managing more of the data, you're managing a team, you have that RHIA credential, but people in the RHIA are not always in a leadership role. So keep that in mind. You can be an RHIT, so a technician, as in the 2-year degree, and still hold a leadership role. So keep that in mind. RHIT doesn't mean you're stuck in a lower level role. The RHIT is just a credential that you had to obtain because you got your 2-year degree. So make sure that you are also focusing on that. Where do you see yourself? Where do you want to be in reference to careers and jobs? They're broad. Comment down below if you want me to post more of these. I do plan to do some more videos to help steer you guys towards the different career job opportunities they have, different postings and things like that. So comment down below, let me know what more you want to see in reference to that. So that was the question for the administrative portion. So yes, I am healthcare and administrative, been technician as well, meaning I had the 2-year credentials as well. I went into a 2-year program. I went into my bachelor's, I went into my master's. So I have seen it all, technical and the administrative portion. And obviously we deal with patient's record. We deal with patient's account. We see it all. We deal with clinical documentation. We work with the providers. We work with end users. We work with nurses, registration. We work with all sorts of people in the healthcare organization. So I would classify myself healthcare, or you should classify yourself healthcare if you are in HIM. All right, I spent enough time on that question. The next one is from ZenT9U. I can't pronounce some of these names. It says it's yes, but you need okay, that was an answer. So when I look at the AHIMA site, this is the AHIMA website. She says that it states that the candidate must meet one of the following required eligibility credentials. So you have to be a CHDA, you have to be RHIT, or you have to have your bachelor's degree or higher. And I think this is in reference to sit for the CHAD, you gotta have your RHIT, that's what she's saying, or your RHIA, or a bachelor's degree. Guys, go to the AHIMA website and read verbatim for what the eligibilities are. So she said, so does that mean the HIM associate's degree holder with an RHIT is eligible? You want to go back to your AHIMA site and you want to check what those eligibility is. It's important. I've done a video on this when it comes to figuring out what are the qualifications for your certification. What is the requirement? What do you have to do for each of these credentials? They have the CHDA. When you go to the AHIMA page and you go to the certificates and career portion, it's going to give you the eligibility for that. The requirements: candidate must meet one of the following eligibility requirement to sit for the CHAD exam. It says hold a RHIT or a RHIA credential or a bachelor's degree or higher from an accredited college or university. Then, while not required, the following recommendations, meaning even though it's not required, they want or would recommend you have one of these: a minimum of 3 years of healthcare data experience. Obviously, if you're going to sit for the CHAD exam, it's data related, it's healthcare related. They want you to have some sort of experience. You don't want to go in there blindly and wasting money to sit for an exam that you don't qualify to sit for, or you may not be fully prepared because you haven't gotten the experience that you may need to help better enlighten you about your exam. So a minimum of 3 years in healthcare data experience, experience in data acquisition, data analysis, data management, data interpretation, and reporting, and data governance. Those are the current AHIMA eligibility requirements. You have what's really required, which is holding an RHIT, RHIA, or a bachelor's degree or higher from an accredited university, and the other ones are recommended. So I hope this helps you with that particular question. And I'm going to go to the next one. So this is what a department chair told me. The RHIT graduates takes, this is what the, let me read this. This is what the department chair of the healthcare told me. HIT graduates can take the RHIT. That's correct. Usually if you're in HIT, Health Information Technology, you're doing the 2-year program. So you want to make sure that you're sitting for your RHIT when you are done, or at least the semester prior to graduating. But before you get into that program, register and sign up for that program. Make sure that is accredited through AHIMA. Make sure that they do have a valid accreditation, and make sure that you can sit for your RHIT. You don't want to start a program only to find out down the line that you cannot sit for your RHIT. So yes, if you are in the Health Information Technology program, usually it's a 2-year program unless you find a bachelor's or a master's. But usually the HIT is a 2-year program. You should be able to sit for your RHIT exam when you are done with your classes, or you're almost done with your classes. If the HIT graduate continues in the HIA, that's Health Information Administrator program, which is more of a bachelor's degree, now you can sit for your RHIA. And yes, that is how it works. 2-year program gets a RHIT, a 4-year program gets a RHIA. Another thing to keep in mind is if you are in your master's, I'm going to say it again, and you are in an accredited program for AHIMA, you should be able to still sit for your RHIA exam, not your RHIT, because that's an upper level degree. So they're not going to have you do all that administrative, management, leadership courses only to come and sit for an RHIT. So you want to cross-check that. Hello, do you need a degree or a certification to work in HIM? No, you do not need a degree or certification to work in HIM. Anyone can work in HIM. You don't even need to have an associate's, a master's, or a bachelor's to work in HIM. It's great to have it, but there's so many people that come into the field to start working in HIM that are still students. People with a high school diploma that started working in it. The caveat to it is where you're starting. You may not be able to get into certain roles because you don't have that degree, you don't have that experience, but not having a degree does not prevent you in working in the HIM area, healthcare, medical records department, HIM department. I started again as a student temp when I started my role. So I was just fresh out of school, and I think I was just about to graduate when I started working in HIM. So they're leaders or organizations that will give opportunity to students. I've hired people that are student, and lots of organizations have those programs that will have people volunteer or people start at a lower pay scale to get into the healthcare field. So you don't need a degree to start working in HIM. You should have one eventually if you get into the field, especially if that's your focus point. You want to obtain one, but you don't need it to start working in HIM. As you work your way up the ladder in the field, you're going to see that you would be in a great position. You will set yourself in a great position or set yourself so that you can meet those standards, so that when you are ready to get the upper level positions, the positions you prefer, if you want to work in ROI, if you want to work as an analyst, if you want to work as a coder, now you have to obtain those certifications, the degrees, take the classes, and so forth and so on to get where you want to. But to start with, you don't need your degree to work in HIM. So just keep that in mind. But it's a great thing to have. You know, I'm an advocate for education, guys, so make sure you try to obtain it. So the person also said, I'm being told that I need to work under something that has a degree to release records, even though I have been working in HIM for over 20 years. And no, you don't have to do that. If you've been in HIM for over 20 years, my hope is that you've gone for a degree because you've been there for quite some time and you're well experienced in what needs to be done, or you've seen a lot of different things with medical records. So I'm hoping that you are obtaining your credential. The next one is, hi, I am also highly interested in becoming an EPIC certified, I guess, becoming EPIC certified. FYI, I'm currently enrolled in the HIT program in a local college and also looking for employment. And then they say I have a bachelor's degree in healthcare administration for over 7 years in management. Please advise. I would say that you may want to look into, this is Twin Joseph 4187. You may want to look into looking for organizations that have EPIC. So they're utilizing EPIC, they are trying to implement EPIC. There are jobs out there that are also hiring for people like you who have already a bachelor's degree and also you have that HIT background. So I don't know if you've graduated. This was posted about a month ago, so I don't know if you've graduated, but you also have over 7 years of management leadership skill. That's awesome. So I would say gear your applications, revamp your resume so that you can make sure you're capturing what you've done in leadership, what you've done in management. Capture those courses that you've taken, because a lot of people think I have to have that experience in order for me to apply for certain roles. No, you do not. If you have taken classes, if you have worked in certain roles that has geared you towards leadership as possible, you want to make sure that you revamp your resume, you update your resume. That should help you in getting those positions. When I started as a student temp for my organization, and the way I moved up the ladder was making sure that my resume reflect all the different things I was doing. Although I was in a position that I loved doing, in order for me to move up, my resume was updated. A lot of the things that I was doing, even in that role, was leadership related. I was always with HIM leadership. I was always working with the director. I was working with a lot of the managers there who also inspired me and helped me grow my skill set. They would put me in different things. I would volunteer my services to participate in a lot of the things within our department. So that skill set that I obtained, I use that to brush up on my resume to be able to apply for other positions. So make sure that you're doing that, and you should be able to hopefully land yourself a job that you really truly want. And the same thing for your Epic credentials. You know, keep searching for those credentials. Go online. There's so many different credential jobs that you can get with Epic, and those opportunities that can be granted. You just have to make sure your resume speaks for itself and you're applying for the correct position, utilizing the correct key terms, the target words that those agencies or the recruiters are looking for. So keep that in mind. Next question says, I'm so glad I found your channel. I'm an LPN for 10 years. I have an AS and a BS in interdisciplinary studies, medical coding certificate, and Google Analytics certificate. That's a lot. Awesome job. And I was accepted into the MSHIM program. Awesome master's degree program. I'm 44 and hope, let me see, read more, and hope I get into risk adjustment and CDI or some type of analyst. Many people are telling me that MS is not necessary. Master's degree is not always necessary, but it's good to have. So if you have time to obtain it, get it. There are a lot of different things. As I said, you don't need an RHIA to get into a management level job, but there are lots of organizations, lots of companies, lots of employers, lots of managers that are going to require them. So you don't know who you're going to approach, what job, what agency, what recruiter, and what they're looking for. So you want to give yourself a broader scope to qualify for a position. So yes, don't settle for I'm going to stop at my RHIT, or I'm going to stop at my RHIA, or I'm going to stop at a bachelor's or a 2-year program. Try your best to get the most you can so that you can set yourself up for success. If you know you're not looking for a leadership role, don't go for it. If you know you're looking for a leadership role or you want it in the long run, try to get what you can get while you can get it, so that when you're ready to pivot into a different role, you can do that. And you can do that without issues because you've obtained those credentials, those degrees. I always tell people, grab it and sit on it if you have to. You can never go wrong by having a bachelor's degree. You can't go wrong by having a master's degree. So if you have your credential and you can sit for an RHIA, why not sit for your RHIA? Why would you go to school, take those classes, waste so much money, time, effort, brain power, and you sit there and not sit for your exam? But then 3 years down the line, you decide, I need to get this job. It's more paying. Someone's trying to hook you up with a job. Someone thought you would fit for the role, but you don't have what your other competitors are going to have, what the other candidate have. Then you put yourself in that predicament. So make sure that you're grabbing what you can, and don't let anybody ever tell you you don't need something. Now, if somebody's trying to hire you and they're telling you you don't need that RHIA, they are the hiring managers. That's on a different slope, because there are people who will give you that opportunity. Students, for example, you may not need that coding credential. We're going to get you started, but we need you to eventually grab it. You can seize that opportunity, jump into the field, and then go back in and get your degrees and certification. But don't let anyone tell you you don't need certain things. Do your own investigation, inquire about it, talk to people, network with people who have been there or are in your in the situation that you're trying to be in, the career path you want to be in, and that would properly guide you. So just be mindful. We don't want you guys wasting so much money on unnecessary credentials, because you're going to be paying for them. You have to maintain the CEUs for them. So keep that in mind as you make your decision on that. And another question someone said is, should I sit for the CPC or should I sit for the CRC? So all of these different types of credentials, when it comes to, let's say, tumor registry, coding credential, RHIT, RHIA, any of those credentials that AHIMA have, or other coding arena, you want to ask yourself, where do you see yourself? What do you like? Do you like to deal with codes? Do you want to be an outpatient coder? Do you want to be an inpatient coder? Do you want to do ClinDoc? You know, if you're going to focus on those things, then my recommendation is for you to get those credentials. But if that's not where you see yourself, then do not waste time obtaining that credential, because you're spending money on a credential that you're not going to use in the long run. So investigate, do your research. AHIMA's webpage gives you a lot of information. You should be able to use that to guide you on what are those best credentials that you need. Where do you see yourself in the future? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What is your ultimate goal in your healthcare career? That should help guide you as to the credentials you should be getting. So, next question. Another question about Epic. Where the heck do you obtain the Epic credential? Before, this person is saying in here that they have done their research, they can't figure out where to obtain the Epic credential. I was a patient access coordinator and a long time ago. I have a career in HIM, my associates, but working on my bachelor's degree in healthcare management. I'm curious as to where do you go for your EPIC exam. EPIC exam is in Wisconsin. EPIC exam, you can also take them online. I traveled out to Wisconsin. Let me know. I'm considering actually posting that video to give you guys a view of what that was like. I had to travel out to Verona, Wisconsin to get my EPIC credential a few years back. It was lovely. It was amazing. That is a campus to visit. It's a must visit if you have the ability to. The credentials are not cheap credentials. They're very expensive. They are something that most organizations will offer to people when they're implementing a system, a new EHR system. They use the software. So you want to go to those sort of organization. You still also want to look online, because there are people who will grant you those opportunities to get certified or work with them as you get your certification. So it's not really just limited to the organization, but it is a hard credential to just blatantly go out and get. You can't like just go pay for it for yourself. Usually the organization has to be in need of that credentialed person or trainer, or different types of applications that they do use for Epic. So if you work for an organization that are using that for their care team, for their treatment, for their organization, for their system, for their database, etc., you can obtain that, or you can ask the manager, the director, to see how you can somehow obtain your credentials. So just keep that in mind. But I myself had to travel out for that. They flew me out for that. It was like a 1 week or a 3-day, 4-day course that I had to take on campus there in Verona. It was lovely. It was nice. I got to tour the campus. We took our classes. They had the different Epic build in the system, because you will be doing the administrative portion and you will be doing the fundamental portion. So the general things, depending on your expertise, whichever subject matter expert you're going to be focusing on, that particular content, they will train you to become the expert for that particular content. So that's what I did. I traveled out for mine. And when you come back, you're going to take your exam that will be proctored on your organization's campus or a location they're going to send you to, but usually within the hospital or the organization. I took mine there. You have to do a project, you have to do a build system, you have to mimic the providers, mimic patients, and mimic yourself as the analyst. So that's what I did. I'm going to try to share a video on that and give you guys a little bit more detail. So just an FYI, there are various different ways you can take your exam. Mine was done at the Wisconsin site. The next question here says, I have a bachelor's degree in healthcare compliance and regulations. And it says, I guess, do you think, not you, do you think this is an appropriate certificate to ignite my career? I was also interested in becoming a medical coder. So this person is healthcare compliance and regulation. Do you think this is an appropriate certificate? The CHAD. So for the CHAD, it's more health data analytic driven. It's a certification that you get when you're interested in managing health data. A lot of the different things people do with this is analyzing statistical data. Sometimes you're dealing with financial data. All this is within the healthcare arena. So a lot of people ask those questions as to what are the different things that you do in this particular or with this particular credential. You want to keep in mind is data driven, is statistical driven, and a lot of the stuff that you're going to be working on are within the system that captures, so the database system that captures that patient information. So if you are in the compliance, we've had people in HIM that has actually moved on to compliance and gotten the different credential. The only thing I would say is that I see here that you indicated medical coding, and trying to mix in your CHDA with medical coding. Usually you want to focus more on the CCS, CCSP, CCA. Those are the credentials you want to focus in if you're doing coding, because coders, you need those credentials. Coders also have RHITs and RHIA, but your focus point is those coding credential and not so much of the CHDA, unless you really want to go into that analytical portion, then you can consider doing that. But if you're geared towards coding, I would say look into the AHIMA coding credential. That's the best bet for you. A lot of the employers would like to see that. Even your CPCs, that is something that the employers would like to see. Inpatient, outpatient coding are coding credentials. And you can include or piggyback with your RHIT or RHIA. It's not necessary, FYI, but your coding credentials is what you get if you are gearing towards coding. So keep that in mind. AHIMA does have a lot of information on that. The next question here is, how much time should I spend when I'm studying for my RHIT? The same rule applies for the RHIA. RHIT, when I was studying for mine, I made sure to study at least 2 times to 3 times a week. I'm a study-holic, you guys. I study like crazy. I like to read. I like to be knowledgeable. I'm always trying to help everyone and their mama. So I'm constantly like, hey guys, let's study. Let's do some things. Do you want to study together? So studying 2 to 3 times a week, I think it's good. If you're going to take your certifications, remember when you go take your exam, you're going to be taking that certification at least 2 to 3 months thereafter paying for your exam. So you want to study up and make sure that you're giving yourself enough time. Now, how long? Usually 2 hours for me is good. Focus study, if you're going to do 1 hour, which I explained earlier, making sure that you have all your resources, your tools, your study material, your notepads, your textbook, everything ready. Focus study on each domain. If you're going to do data governance, for example, if I'm studying for my CHAD exam and I'm doing the data governance, that's the chapter I'm focusing on. I'm going to look for all the key terms, make sure I figure out where they are in the textbook, make my notes, bullet my items, and make sure that I have a focus study, because I only have an hour to make sure that I get it done. So you want to either do a 1 hour focus study or at least do 2 hours if you're still trying to figure yourself out with taking your time and studying, and then give yourself at least 2 to 3 times a week, because we have work, we have family, we have school, etc. So that would be my response. Try to study as often as you can. If you can do more, do more. It never hurts. Make sure you're giving yourself a break. Mental health is important, so don't overdo it. but give yourself time to obtain what you've learned, talk to someone about it, work with others if need be, 2 to 3 times a week, 2 hours to 1 hour a week or more, depending on how fast you want to take your exam. I took mine in less than a couple of weeks actually because I was under pressure to get it done. And I know someone else who took theirs in 2 weeks, studied up, got it done in 2 weeks. And so let me know if you want to get some tips on how to also get your studying done, be more efficient. I do post a lot on that. All right, I think I have one more question. This says, "Hi, I tried to get my certification, but unfortunately I could not because my ID expired and I was fired by the firm that had paid for my certification. Can you share if there is any way I can do it again?" So I'm sorry to hear this, but when you say that your ID was expired, I'm assuming your ID for the job. I was a little confused about this, and this is from ADILSC1. So comment in this video and give me some clarification. I'm going to try to make sense of what you're asking. You're saying you tried getting your certification, but unfortunately you could not because your ID expired. The firm fired you, and they were the ones who were paying for the certification. If you're trying to do it, you got to start all over. Make sure your ID has not expired. I'm assuming it's your license, but you want to make sure you have, of course, a valid ID because a lot of the places you go to take your exam are going to be proctored. They're going to check for your ID. Literally, they're screening you for everything that you're doing. So you want to make sure that you have a valid license because they're going to ask for that. And it's like getting a fingerprint done. So when you go to take those certification exams, they're not playing. They want to make sure you are who you are. They want to make sure nobody else is sitting for the exam for you. They're going to document it. It's going in a system, a database system, to capture you either passing or failing the exam and taking that exam. So you want to make sure all your information is correct, is up to date, nothing has expired. And then if you're saying that the firm fired you, I am so sorry to hear that. You would have to look for another firm that is going to hire you and invest in your goals to get your credential. So first things first is get that license or that ID reinstated, get it in a positive status, and then go apply for some of these organizations that will offer those. Most healthcare organizations now in this day and age are using things like Epic. They're using EHR systems so that they can be compatible across the board because we do have where you have health information exchange and we have where we're sharing patient information amongst our organization. So you shouldn't have a hard time looking for a healthcare organization that is using Epic. And once you get in there, make sure you get into the correct department and just make sure you talk to someone and see where you can gear towards to get that credential. But I do think that you should stay hopeful. My first advice is get your license straightened out and then work your way back to where you were. You've done it before, so it's not that it's not doable. I think it's doable and you can work your way back into where you were. So I'm wishing you all the best. I think I have addressed most of these questions. We are pushing an hour. I'm going to check if there's anything else that was hitting for my review. And I'm going to go back to all these videos and respond back that I have done a live video on this for those of you who want to go in and take a look, So I want to make sure. So let me just confirm that I've answered all these different questions. And I think I have. And also let me make sure that no one else was on my live asking any question and comments. Oh, Erica M, it was on. And she says, "Good morning. I've been watching your videos for a while and have learned a lot. I'm graduating next month with my master's in HIM. OMG. Congratulations, Erica. Congratulations. And with a master's at that, I mean, that is awesome. How did your master's program go, Erica? Comment in my video. How did your master's program go? I wanted to do some things about my master's program. It was something else. And when I say something else, it was mind blowing for me because I thought with the master's program, since I did my bachelor's and I've had my IT degree, I got all sorts of stuff. The director that mentored me used to say, "You have the best of both worlds." I mean, he was blown with my skill set. He mentored me with a lot of stuff. So going into my master's, because I had started like a baby in HIM and started working my way up, done a little bit of coding, done some administrative coordinating things. I mean, literally guiding the entire HIM department, even with Epic. I felt like I was prepared to go into the master's program because I wanted to be eventually in a leadership role and help out as many as I can because I'm always giving and trying to support where I can. And I said, well, let me go do my master's. I think it's going to be great to get it done. And I don't think it's going to be that bad. I'm just going to, work my way through and child. That master's kicked my butt. I mean, I was constantly in study mode. Activities that you're giving, the discussion posts that you got to do, the projects, the assignment, a lot of them were challenging. I got to a certain spot, guys, with even my channel where I could not even work on videos. So when you guys see me trying to post these videos now, work with me, support me, give me a thumbs up, pray for me. I really had such a hard time in my master's program that I had to pause even on doing videos like I want to, and it was a lot of work, but I'm so happy I got it done. So Erica M, kudos, congratulations, girl. Doing masters is a great thing. I don't know where you see yourself and where you're going to be, but you can't go wrong. I always tell people, grab it and sit on it. I don't care what anybody says. If you want to get your doctorates, if you want to get your associates, if you want to get your bachelor's, grab it and sit on it, because eventually when you decide that you want to do something else, I want to gear towards this part of HIM, because our field is broad. The career path is beyond, out of this world, and there's so many different avenues in HIM that you can gear towards. You could be doing something technical today, you could be doing something administrative, you could become a CEO, CFO, whatever. But I say grab it and stay on it. The master's program kicked to my tail, but I learned so much. And I'm going to try to start posting some things about the classes and courses and the different things that I've learned being in the master's program. It will humble you, and it was great. It was interesting. It was challenging. My skill set was tested, and I'm happy I did it and it's over with. That's something I'm going to say I don't regret doing and sitting on it. If you want to call it, I'm sitting on it, because there's so many things I want to do. You can't do it all, but you can grab your opportunities. And I think having your master's is where you are grabbing your opportunities. So Erica, thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Congratulations. And keep going forward. I don't know if you have any of your credentials yet. I would say go grab one or two credentials and just keep going. Hopefully you're working in the field. If you're not, I'm going to pray for blessings so that you can get into the field. But at least once you get your feet in, if you're already not in, you're in a good spot because you have that degree. So now all you have to do is obtain that experience. I always tell people, even when you don't have the experience, get the degree. If you don't have the degree and you have opportunity to get the experience, get it. Just get one or the other and continue to do it, so that when you're ready, you are now setting the bar to do what you have to do. So guys, I've been doing this live for quite some time. I am going to jump off, and hoping you guys have a great Sunday. And I will see you all on the next one. Stay blessed. All right, y'all. Bye.